Alright, in this video I'm gonna talk about the new Nissan Leaf. So it's kind of old news, it's been out for a while, but I have done a little bit of research and some stuff. Yeah, I'll gonna come back to that later. But for you guys who don't know, Nissan, they recently unveiled the new Nissan Leaf, like the next generation Leaf, or Leaf 2 or whatever you call it. So it has been improved a lot, which is a good thing because it really needed that improvement. Some of the specs, okay, we will now have a 40 kilowatt hour battery pack. That is a lot, yes. But knowing Leaf from before, they used the gross capacity, not the net capacity. So you have to assume that probably around 36 kilowatt hour is what you can get out of it. And they say that the range will be 400 kilometers according to some kind of Japanese measuring method, but I'm guessing at least 250 kilometers of real range. And to put that into perspective, most other EVs nowadays, like the new e-Golf or something, or some of the other cars, they can usually do about 200, 150. So 250 is better, yeah. And also the old Leaf, I recently used the 30 kilowatt hour during the Lada tour, and I felt that it was a little bit underpowered, only 107 horsepower, but the new one will have 147 horsepower, so that's a big improvement. It's on par with many of the other cars, even faster than some of the other cars nowadays. And also, I kind of realized late that the Nissan Leaf is pretty spacious. Because when I did the first test 1 year ago, I didn't push it to the limits, like when it comes to luggage. Well, I didn't really do it on the previous trip either with the Lada tour, with the Fortum. But still, I realized it's freaking huge. It's much bigger than most of the other cars in the same class. So the luggage space has been improved. It was 370 liters. It's going to be 435. Yeah, that is pretty big. The downside though is that the onboard charger will still be 7.4 kilowatt. It seems to be more or less the industry standard here. All the other cars also has that support. They only support 230 volt, 32 amp. Except for the new i3, BMW i3, they support 400 volt, 16 amp, which is 11 kilowatt. So it would be really cool if Nissan could also support 400 volt, some of the other cars, because is it that important? Because nowadays you have more and more DC fast chargers everywhere. Well, most of the time you want to use the DC, but there will be times when you have to queue up. It will happen sometimes, and many of those locations will have a 22 kilowatt AC plug for Zoe or whatever. 43 kilowatt is not that common anymore. So at least not in Norway, at least. So, but still, if you have 22 kilowatt AC, you will get about half the speed of the CHAdeMO. So it's like a really good option if you're waiting there anyway. Or sometimes that could even be a good option if you're gonna stay there like an hour to eat or whatever. So, but anyway, yes, that's a little bit unfortunate. And also the charging speed, maximum charging speed, will still be 50 kilowatt on CHAdeMO. So they still keep the CHAdeMO plug. Maybe it's because Nissan, Renault, they kind of invented that stuff, so they don't move to CCS. But the new one, the Plus version that will come later, will have. It said that it will have 150 kilowatt support. But the new change here is that they will the Nissan Leaf will be fitted with Type 2 plug. The old Leaf is Type 1 plug, and it seems like less and less manufacturers go with the Type 1. So that's good. That's good that we move over to Type 2. So that means that you can use, for instance, the Tesla wall box. You can just plug it right in the Nissan and it will work as long as it's configured for it. Yeah. The drag coefficient is supposed to be better, 0.28. Now, you see, in the spec of the Nissan, they also claim that it was 0.28 on the old one. But a Car and Driver, they measured the old one to have 0.32. So it kind of makes sense because the new Leaf is slightly lower, it's slightly wider and longer. So they hopefully they have improved the aerodynamics, and maybe they improved some. Yeah, the underbelly of the car is pretty flat, so that makes it also better for aerodynamics. So we can assume that the efficiency will be better. Yeah, we don't know for sure. There's a little but there. This is why I came a bit late with this video, because I wanted to know if the new Leaf has battery cooling, and according to my sources in Nissan, they say that unfortunately it doesn't. The battery pack in the new one is very similar to the old one. I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe you can even, you know, fit as the 40 pack in the 30 car or whatever. So it seems to have the same old design, passive cooling, not active cooling. And then, you know, before you guys scream, oh shit, I want to cancel my reservation, don't do that, because, okay, I drove like I stole a car during the last Nissan Leaf, I mean the Lada Tour event, and it didn't, okay, first day we drove 500 kilometers, roughly about 300 miles. It didn't overheat, it wasn't, I mean, it was starting to build up, of course. And then second day we didn't drive that far, but 200 something kilometers. But the third day we had to drive over 500 kilometers, like over 300 miles. And a lot of hammering and motorway, lots of charging sessions, not too many breaks, like stops, you know. And also another problem was that during the event, I didn't want to, I gave up my my Shuko plug to someone else, so I didn't always start with a full battery pack, with a full charge. So I kind of had to start the day with fast charging, and then they kind of build up heat. So towards the end, yes, at the very end, like what happened, I mean, many of you guys haven't seen that, you probably didn't bother looking at that Lada Tour part 3, but I will just summarize that. Towards the end, it was kind of hot also, about 20-25 degrees Celsius. I started getting like too many dots, like 10 or 10 bars of 12. And the speed started throttling, charging speed. Usually I get 43 kilowatt. It dropped to 36 in the beginning. And then I drove to the next one. And then I had 11 bars. And the car has some kind of like fail safe. So it will not stop. Well, I was also worried that the car would just stop and then it will like not do anything until it cooled down. But it reduced the power for me, so I felt that the throttle was a little bit sluggish. But after a while, after like driving like 15, half an hour, then the battery cooled down, and then I got the power back. But that was, you know, the start of the overheat like issue, and then after a little bit more, the speed throttled to 30 kilowatt, and then at the very end, right before I was about to end, that was like, you know, 500 kilometers, like over 10 hours of driving or something and charging. Then I received only 18 kilowatt. But it is pretty like, this is pretty like I would say extreme case. Lots of hammering. I drove like I stole the Leaf. Yeah. So for most people who do a mix of, let's say, some driving, some whatever, you know, it just stays there, or maybe a slow charge, you know, overnight or work or whatever, you know, shopping, whatever, then the car gets time to rest. You know, most likely for most people, the 30 pack won't overheat that fast. I know one guy who bought the Nissan Leaf after I tested it last year, and he didn't have any issues with overheating. So but there's always a but. The new pack, I'm guessing that because it's a bigger battery pack, when you discharge at the same power, for instance, if you pull 20 kilowatt continuously to keep up on the highway or something, if you pull 20 kilowatt on the 30 pack, you will have more heat generation, you will have more you know, more heat loss, and you build up more heat. But if you pull 20 kilowatt on a 40 pack, the heat is less. We don't know yet how the heat buildup will be when you fast charge, but Nissan said to me that they have changed the chemistry, and that it will charge faster. So yeah, that would be great, you know, if the new Leaf can at least charge at 48 kilowatt, just like Ioniq. You know, So what I'm trying to say is that that whole overheat issue might not be a big issue. I mean, it's not that. I mean, you have to kind of push it to get that issue on the 30, and on the 40, you have to drive even further. You have to push it even more in order to kind of get it to overheat. That's what I'm assuming. Now I have to test it next year to do a proper test to really see how far I can push it before it overheats. But most likely, or not, for most people, it's not going to be any problem. All right, let me talk a little bit more about the features. I'm trying to make this short. Finally, the Nissan Leaf will get, you know, the more features like most other cars have nowadays, the more modern cars like Ioniq or whatever. So it will have an automatic braking, it will have blind spot warning, adaptive cruise control, and also they have this pilot thing where it will auto steer for you. I have to test it out how it works. Is it as good as Tesla? Is it like Ioniq where you have to touch the steering wheel every 5 seconds? Maybe, because Nissan said that, you know, they also take safety serious. So they didn't say more than that, but I assume that means that they're not gonna let you just drive. They're not going to let the car drive itself for several minutes without any interaction from the user. So yeah, that's what my take on that is. It can auto park, you know, parallel park or whatever. That one might, I mean, from what I've seen, it might be better than a Tesla, because the problem with at least AP1 car is that it uses the sensors, and you need to have 2 cars enabled to park between them. It uses the sensors to do that. If there's like an empty parking lot, then it cannot parallel park or you know, do that perpendicular parking thingy, right? I can't pronounce it. Oh shit! But anyway, so but the Nissan uses cameras to park, so that's a little improvement. Yeah, I'm dying to test it out. Of course, the Nissan Leaf has a 360 camera. Hopefully, it is sharper than before, because it's awesome. I love it on the old Leaf, and the new one will also get it. Hopefully, with better resolution, so it will make maneuvering even better. Yeah, and of course, nowadays, yes, you have CarPlay and Android Auto and all that. And also, they say that it will support have some app support. Sorry, I mean app support. Of course, means that you can have mobile phone, and you can do just like in a normal Leaf that you know, you can check charging, you can unlock the car, you can set up charging schedules and stuff like that. Yeah, not every car has it, like Ioniq lacking it, in Europe at least. And again, okay, a new feature that they've been talking a lot about is that one pedal driving. It's not like revolutionary, but it's finally there. It's good. I felt that the old one was like outdated. It was not strong enough. So the new one has stronger regen, but also I heard that it uses friction brake to simulate regen, and also you can use that one to hold you on a hill. And yeah, so it has no hill hold, and also when you use the adaptive cruise control, it will follow the traffic, and it can also go to a complete stop and then start again. Not every car can do that, and it can hold there for like 3 minutes. So I think there's a timer. They said there was a timer. So after 3 minutes, it's also like a Tesla. It will kind of like, you have to touch the throttle then gently to start. It's like a fail-safe feature, I guess. But it's there. So it will make commuting a lot better. And also, the Nissan Leaf, new one, will have vehicle to grid, where you can charge a car, but you can also output it back to the grid. So that is also something I want to learn more about. I also learned that the ENV200 has vehicle to grid support. What? I've been driving it. I didn't know it has vehicle to grid support. Yeah. So the vehicle to grid is also interesting, because that means, you know, you can. It's like you have a freaking huge Powerwall, but this is a 40 kilowatt-hour Powerwall, not the 13.5 kilowatt-hour Powerwall. But the downside, of course, is that Powerwall is not always that Powerwall thingy. It's not always home. You could be driving around when you might need to store energy. So it's like, you know, pros and cons with the vehicle to grid, but yeah, like, does it make sense to wear down your battery extra? You know, because you will add more cycles to the car's batteries. I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah. As long as the battery packs are getting cheaper and cheaper, then I guess it's no big deal. And on the other hand, I mean, you already use some cycles, microcycles, when you regen the car, right? So yes, interesting stuff. The pricing is, yeah, it's, you know, it's out there that the Leaf will be cheap. I spoke to Leaf today, by the way, so that's why I know a little bit more about this. So, you know, they want to price the car to be more affordable. So that's why when you look at the pricing, you know, it's priced like Ioniq or Kia Soul or something, and it's priced lower than i3 and e-Golf, and also lower than Ampera-e Bolt. And you get a lot of equipment, and you get a lot of space also for it. So that's pretty impressive, I have to say. Yeah. So the what is really like impressive is that it's just slightly more expensive than the 30 kilowatt hour Leaf, the old one. So what's gonna happen with the second-hand price with the old one? Will it drop like a rock? I don't know. But also they will release this launch edition, which is almost fully spec'd. That's why I heard the launch edition will be like a special edition in Europe. And they will have like leather interior and all that goody stuff, like the self-driving whatever, you know, all that stuff, and still be very cheap compared to the other cars. So Ioniq, like, it would be cheaper than, like, I would call them the higher cost cars, like i3, e-Golf, Ampera-e, you know. And also Model 3, I forgot to mention Model 3. And like about the same price as some of the other, like, lower, like Kia Soul or Ioniq or well, Zoe. So you get a pretty cheap car, but lots of tech. Like, I would call them like high tech and safety features and stuff. So let's try to compare the new Leaf with some of the other cars on the market or coming soon on the market. Leaf versus Model 3. Okay, Model 3 has supercharger support. That is priceless. No need to say more about that. And most likely the Model 3 will have better autopilot. It depends if you want to go for the standard autopilot or the full self-driving, but even the standard, I'm assuming, will be better than the Nissan Leaf. Of course, this is just assumption from me. I haven't tested the Leaf yet. You have to wait about 6 months before I do that. But and also the Model 3 has more power and range than the Leaf. But of course Model 3 is more expensive. So yeah. Now another thing though about Model 3 is that it has this small opening, whereas the Leaf has a big hatch opening. So that could be troublesome for some people who expect to put large items in the Model 3. Because during the Lada Tour trip I had, I tried to put this stroller, twin stroller, in the back, and I couldn't put it in the through the side, the door here. So I had to open the hatch and take out that item and then put it in there. So, you know, the hatch opening is priceless for loading big items. Yeah. Okay, what about Leaf versus Ampera-e? Well, okay, obviously Ampera-e has more range because it has bigger battery pack. Ampera-e also is more powerful, 200 horsepower. Ampera-e is more expensive, yes, but the Leaf has more tech. And as for space, my gut feeling says that Leaf has more space, because I tried the Ampera-e. It's kind of like short and compact. The new Leaf is slightly bigger, longer, you know. So all right, next comparison, Leaf versus Ioniq. Now the Ioniq has like equal tech to Leaf, but Leaf has bigger battery pack. So even if Ioniq is more efficient, the Leaf will still have more range at the end of the day. And the Leaf has app support, which the Ioniq doesn't have. So that's well, it's unfortunate for some people, but if you can live without the app, then good for you. And the price is about equal for these two, because, you know, if you look at you can't just look at the launch edition and say, oh, it costs this much, but the but the Ioniq costs less. Well, the Ioniq, that's a stripped down Ioniq. You still want to have some of the equipment on the Ioniq, so, and then it becomes about the same as a launch edition Leaf. So of course, if it matters to you that Ioniq has lower consumption, if you only charge at home and you want to cut down the power energy cost, then yes, okay, Ioniq kind of makes sense. But Ioniq also has faster charging. Like even on 50 kilowatt DC, I measured about 48 kilowatt. That was pretty impressive. Like pretty much like 48 kilowatt all the way to 80%, and then it started like tapping down. But we don't know yet how the Leaf will do it. But Ioniq can also support 70 kilowatt. That is also pretty cool. But there's almost a but. There are almost no like 70 to 100 kilowatt fast chargers out there. So yes, of course, Ioniq has an edge there, but unfortunately, it cannot use it. Yeah. All right, let's compare Leaf with the i3 and e-Golf then. Leaf is about 20% cheaper than these other cars. I tried to spec the other cars with a similar tech. I didn't just take the base model i3 or e-Golf. But Leaf has similar or more tech. It can like auto steer-ish, you know, it can like auto park for you and different stuff, and it has a 360 camera and all that, so okay. But the Leaf has more range than these other cars, because today's i3 has 33 kilowatt hour gross battery, and e-Golf has 35.8 if I can remember correctly, and Leaf will get 40. But the i3, it's rumored that in 2018 it will get a whopping 42.5 kilowatt hour. Whether it's true or not, I'm not sure, but BMW probably wants to be in the game, so they will continuously upgrade. But as for space, Leaf is a winner here. Okay, I haven't done a banana test, but Leaf is bigger, longer than the other cars. The other cars are really compact and short, and that means that there's very limited how much space you can get in there. And the problem with the i3 is that it was not built pure electric. You know, it was not born electric. It was born Rex. Yeah, so that space under the trunk is reserved for the Rex engine and stuff, and the motor is in the back there. So in the Leaf, you just have that really deep well in the trunk. I was like, what the heck? All that space. Yeah. Leaf versus Kia Soul EV. I love the Soul. It's really nice and spacious. The Leaf is slightly more expensive, but the Soul has less range. And the Leaf has more range. The Leaf has more tech. Like Soul doesn't even have adaptive cruise control. So now I feel that the Soul is falling behind. So it has to update with the other cars to get the same safety features and all that stuff. So, you know, why would you choose a Soul nowadays? It had an edge like 1 or 2 years ago, but not anymore, I would say. Okay, Leaf versus Zoe. Well, okay, Leaf is slightly more expensive. The Zoe also has a whopping 40 kilowatt hour battery pack. Of course, you have like what they say 400 kilometers of range, but I think real world range is more or less the same for these two cars. Maybe even better for Leaf. I'm not sure because of the drive coefficient, but no, this is just speculation from me. But I would say, okay, let's assume the range is about equal. But the Leaf is way more powerful, almost 150 horsepower. Zoe, I don't know how much it was, but it's not much. Yeah. So, but of course, if you don't care about that, then no big deal for you. As for space, we shouldn't even talk about that. The Zoe is very like a compact city car, whereas the Leaf is still a city car but larger. And again, shouldn't have to mention Leaf has more tech. Zoe doesn't have all that adaptive cruise control, whatever thing. It has a touchscreen. That's pretty much it. Leaf, of course, has 50 kilowatt DC fast charging support. That's something Zoe doesn't have. But the Zoe can charge on 22 kilowatt AC, which is very nice for places where you have lots of AC and less DC. So yeah, you know, for many people, Zoe, okay, makes sense for you, and it's also cheaper. So, so let's summarize what I think about the Leaf. I think it looks great. Yeah, some of you guys like, oh, you don't like it, but I think it looks a lot better than the old Leaf, yeah, to be honest. So they did nice styling. It looks more modern for 2017, 2018. And also it has pretty good range. That's very important. Range is very important for people who buy EVs. Also good tech. Finally, you know, adaptive cruise control, safety feature, auto braking, all that stuff. Auto steer is also very nice. You might think it's a useless gimmick, but it's actually very nice to have, because people will always do something else in the car instead of just driving. So I don't know how many times I've seen I meet other cars halfway over the line, like about to crash into me because they were, I don't know, picking up chewing gum or something, you know, whatever. Yeah. And I would also say, you know, price performance, bang for the bucks in the Leaf is pretty good, even if it doesn't have active cooling. So you know, I would say it would sell like hotcakes, but I have to say it will sell like freaking Espa buns, man. It will sell lots. They already, well, last time I heard they pre-sold 700 cars. Yeah. But you know, I cannot recommend it yet because I haven't tried it. But like, my gut feeling so far is pretty good about the Nissan Leaf. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about future events. This is also something I had to wait a little bit, and now I finally know that Nissan has invited me to an exclusive Europe unveiling event in October. So they chose Oslo as the location for the whole Europe unveiling. That is pretty awesome that we were chosen for that location. It's freaking expensive here, but Oslo is the capital of EV in, I would say, in the world. Yeah, in regards of fast charging network, public free charging, like incentives, and just the sheer number of EVs in this city. Yeah. So I will be invited there. It's a closed, exclusive event where I can get to see the car, take photos, videos, and ask Nissan about, ask questions, everything. I want to know everything about the car, about like, yeah, stuff, tech stuff. Maybe, yes, by the way, if you want to know something, maybe you can ask me, and I can, if it's interesting, I will just write it down and try to ask him about the Nissan Leaf. Yeah. And also that will be in October, beginning of October. And there will also be a test drive event somewhere in Southern Europe next year. I'm not sure when, January, February or something. That's why we have to have it in Southern Europe, not in, you know, Northern Europe. So then I will be able to test drive the car. And I requested, I asked Nissan if I can get the car for myself for a couple of hours to do my thing, you know, shoot video, test it a little bit, and just, yeah, touch everything, try. And also, but this time I also asked them if they can just show me the features, and then I will go for a test ride and do all that stuff. So yes, I want to learn as much as possible about this car. And also later I will ask if I can, you know, when they start rolling them out to customers, if I can borrow one for a weekend or something, so I can do that typical Tesla Bjorn road trip, you know, with Espa buns and whatever. So and again, yes, some of you guys may be thinking, how much did Nissan pay you for this? They pay me nada. Yeah, I'm just genuinely interested in EVs, and I think the Nissan Leaf is a great gift to the people who finally wants to move over to electric. So it's a great great alternative to Ioniq or i3 or e-Golf or whatever, you know. So it's always, Nissan has always been a good seller in that market, in the EV like lower market. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, looking forward for all the Nissan like test and whatever. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So I think that's it for now. I hope this was interesting for you guys. Whether you want to order one or not, up to you. I'm not gonna recommend anything yet, but I'm just dying to test that car. Yeah. Yeah, and even, you know, by the way, even wifey said it's good looking. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Honda. She didn't like the old one either. So yes, New Nissan Leaf is wifey approved. Oh yeah, maybe I can get that one instead of the Model 3. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, alright. So that's it for now then. Thank you for watching.